that time budget, that energy budget. That'll be one of my recommendations, a technology budget. Stay focused, presets time limits, you kind of mentioned that, of when or how often they can go on to what. So it kind of gives them like a bank account, you basically have a time technology account, and each child has their own. So there's lots of updated apps. This is even old, a year ago. There's Accountable to You, which can measure, monitor everything someone's doing on all, so it's linked. Some of it's linked through your system of your phone, which is why I said check your phone company first or your internet company first. Some of it is linked through different apps. There's some that I try on different ones just to get a feel for what's available. The parenting phone, I set my wife's as the parenting phone, and I told her the password and she forgot it and I forgot it, so I was locked out of my own phone. I had to submit, Mom, Dad, I want to use this for this minute, this long, and for this reason. I had to kind of fill in the blanks in order to submit it, and then the parenting phone would say yes, no, or as long as, and kind of maybe once in this time frame, whatever it was. And then it was basically my security code, so I couldn't get onto my phone until I got the approval. Okay, so that way if you're gone at a business meeting you didn't know you were going to be and the child has access and wants to, I can't get on the phone, yep, submit your request and I'll approve it or I won't approve it, but then I also have filtering to see what you were doing during that time. So there's all sorts of apps like that. Parents are trying to be helpful and your companies want you to keep your business, so they're going to try to help you feel safe. Reviewing filters, CovenantEyes.com is a Christian-based. They have a lot, it's more on the pornography filtering side. They have a lot of blog articles and a lot of resources all across the different parameters, such as pastors, parishioners, clergy, parents. And then TeenSafe.com is a whole ministry focused on informing you and resourcing about different things to be aware of or different steps and different things to be upfront on. So just be informed is really the key parenting side. This is the accessibility part. The other is you couldn't quite see it, but on the bottom I recommend you go to the specific company policies like Twitter. Read Twitter's policies. Read Instagram's policies. Read Snapchat's policies. Know what they're telling you, and then read reviews or concerns about, and just Google it. Review concerns about Instagram. Does everyone know what Snapchat is? Okay, so Snapchat is an app where someone can take a picture or send something, and in 10 seconds when the person sees it, it's gone. Is it gone? No. No. Especially criminally, it's not gone. And what else isn't gone is if I know they're sending me a picture, I take a picture of another phone, now I have that on the phone and there's no access to it. So it creates a false anonymity, and it's not very helpful for parents because you don't know what they actually sent unless you have apps that kind of let you know what they're using. What I've found from clients, some clients, the parents have all the phones locked somewhat. The child, like the liquor cabinet, the child knows how to get in it, fill the water in, so the child would take the phone, use it at night, the parents are sleeping, upload the app, use it, delete the app, put it back in the phone, and they would have no idea unless they have an app, unless they have a tracker. It'd be like filling up the liquor cabinet with a little extra liquid of some kind. Not that I learned how to do that or anything. I've heard that one. It's been a while.
I've heard that.
So you want to learn what are the different purposes and then what are the different critiques or concerns with each of these apps. And there's going to be new ones that I don't know about. There's all sorts of them. So exercises for family digital stewardship. We're 8:15, correct? So what are different ways? I'd say recommend creating a family mission. Being intentional about what do we stand for, what do we want technology, what role does it play in our life? Okay. What is it good for, what do we celebrate, and what are we concerned about? Okay. And what is our purpose? So really being intentional about principles and purpose and put it on there. You may even need to do a contract. I've got an example of a contract. Now contracts, I love it when parents come in therapy like, I need to have a contract. Well, it's not going to do any good if you don't follow it or they don't follow it. But it does let you know your stance, and it does help everyone at least know under what rules are we being accountable for. Okay? So a contract isn't a false security or guarantee your kids will act correctly, but it does help you communicate, and that's the goal. We want to really connect and understand them first. Periodically review the technology budget, so be intentional about writing a budget. What is our budget? What rule do we have, or how often do we allow ourselves to? My wife and I, our children are small, so we've been very intentional. We don't answer the phone during dinner. We try to keep our phone out of our pocket during dinner. Sometimes we forget. We put our phone actually on a cabinet so the kids can't see it, even though, so that way it's not kind of always there. They do know our phone's next to our bed, but we'd be very intentional about putting it away, or it's our alarm, so sometimes if we find ourselves using it, we try not to use it the last 30 minutes of bed, etc. Okay, so there's kind of adult rules that we're working on, we're continuing, but our kids can't read yet, or only one of them can, so we haven't written it down yet, but they know verbally, we've passed it down through them. Digital cleansing. You ever go through your pantry? You go through your kids' Halloween candy? You ever go through what's healthy, what's not? Okay. What's brain food, what's junk food? For those who have teens that have a lot of music, take a scripture reference, or take a part of your mission statement, and just say, if we were to screen out all of your music, what would make the cut based on this scripture, or based on this principle we all agree on? If we just use this word, what of these songs would make the cut, what of these songs would be gone? Or if we use this parameter of friends, how many times have you actually met with this friend face to face in the last week? Okay. Which friends would still be on your friend list? Okay. You don't have to actually do this, but verbally do this with them, just so they can kind of start to think about, is it, what I'm doing being done on purpose? Is it actually good for me? Is there something purposeful here for me? Or am I just sliding into the lull of kind of getting used to things, just having more access to things that I need, et cetera, et cetera. Some people have 50 different apps on their phone that they don't even use. Delete them then. Why do you need them? It's a false security. Okay? Family suggestion box. If you only have one child, it doesn't work so well. Okay? But if you put a family suggestion box, a technology suggestion, get to know what your kids would prefer. If they need to do it anonymous, so you create a safe place in which we talk about it. I do, if I had more time, one of the things, sometimes we bring the teens in. Your teens aren't coming in, or your kids aren't coming in, but sometimes we bring the kids in, and we want to start to open up honest discussion. So family suggestion box is good, or honest discussion time. Really get to know what are their preferences. What would they like to see? What do they realize or agree with? Because more often than not, if we can start with an honest discussion, you're going to eliminate most conflicts. I'll have a child in therapy come in, and I say, as long as you would like, no issues. How long would you play this video game for? Sometimes it's like 10:30, or maybe like an hour, then I get bored. I'll play as long as I want. I'm going to play it. I don't care if they don't tell me I can't. Okay, so that child's going to be flagged as someone who's probably more on the addiction side. But what those children that say, for an hour and a half, when the parent's fighting about 8:15 versus 8:30, or 40 minutes versus 60 minutes, they create such conflict and fights because they're not hearing each other. But realistically, they're fighting over 15 minutes. But if we can get to know genuinely what the child would actually, if they were their own parent, what would they do? What's reasonable and fair, et cetera, et cetera. If we can start with an honest, candid discussion, we can eliminate a lot of unnecessary tension. But we want to have honest discussion with them. What are their intentions? What aren't their intentions? Sometimes just asking, what do you not intend to do with this app? And they'll be like, well, I realize that this is really dumb, or one of my friends did this and that was really, or I knew somebody got in trouble. They'll start telling you all their kind of yeah buts, their warnings. They'll start to create for you a map of their parameters. And if they don't have parameters, you might want to think about, hey, I read this article, or this guy talked to me at a presentation once and he said this. Do any of your friends have that issue? Have you heard of that before? Kind of introduce the concept to see what they do with that thought. You're trying to get a field map for where they are on things. Ask them what the pressures they're facing. What are some of the dilemmas you're facing? If we keep our rules like this, what are some of the dilemmas? So that family suggestion box is a safe way for them to communicate, or you connect with them in this way. You want to help them ask, what does this offer you? Is it necessary? Is this a substitute to something? So being able to ask explorative questions is really important. Being able to really connect with what is their thought process and how much of their parenting themselves brain are they using versus how much of their, I'm just trying to trick you because I really want to have my fix met. When children, sometimes with suggestion boxes, they might make proposals. I want my child to make a proposal. The child says, excuse me, I'm such a therapist. Oh man, I've learned there's 6 and 8, and I just taught them this because I wanted to see if it worked, and it does, so I'll back off and let them be normal. But when they have a concern, they say, excuse me, Dad, or Mom, Dad, I have a concern, and this is my request. My concern is I only got this big of a cookie, my sister got that big of a cookie, and I'm asking if I could have a little more. Do you know how much nicer that is to my brain than, what? They start fighting. So if they came to you, my concern is I'm older now, you make me go to bed at this time, I only get this much, it'd be nice to have a little extra downtime to relax. One of the ways I do is listen to my music. I know it's on my phone, but it is music. I could get a CD, but this has more songs. I'm willing to give you the song list, and you can pick the ones you don't want me to listen to. but if you'd be willing, would it be okay if I had an extra 15, 20 minutes? I'm the older, I just want to feel a little more older, or else I'm just being treated like the rest of them. If a child came to you honestly and legitimately, and it's within reason, you're probably more likely to say yes. Okay? So invite them to make proposals based on requests, based on legitimate principles. What are the criteria? Do they show credibility? Thoughts on that? Is that something you can envision? There's usually yeah buts at this point, and I don't know all your situations, okay? But there's opportunity for this. That's what we want to work on. And then also family suggestion box, when I do this, a lot of times they start, if you do this, careful, you start to get people start to say, yeah, but mom, you don't do, or but dad, I noticed, so are you following your own policies? If you write out your mission statement, are you following it yourself? And if not, is it because you're the dad, or is it because you said so? Why aren't you? You want to teach them that. God teaches us that. His ways are His ways, not ours. So He teaches us limits. He's not going to tell us everything. There's mystery. There's developed faith in that. So are there opportunities for you to change your patterns? Are you open to feedback? As a parent, as your use, are you open to honest feedback? Children are a litmus test for us. They see us more than anything. So they'll be a mirror to you if you invite them to be. So that's what the family suggestion box starts to open up, which I want to just kind of give you a general surgeon's warning. If you do that one, it'll open up honest discussion, which is good, but just be conscious and aware. Or if you only have one child, it's not very anonymous. So just be aware of that too. They're already identified. Personal development and family unplugged time. So having a half hour of we do personal development time every night. You can read scripture again, you can do your homework, mom, dad might read a magazine of something, we might work on a foreign language, whatever it is, we might do a little work, you can do a little schoolwork. But in this house, we do at least an X amount of time of personal development time, or family time, or unplugged time, etc. So being intentional about that gives you likely a more opportunity to say yes to the other things. Technology fasting, we're careful on this because this can also sound like detox. When the child has a lot of sugar and you take away their sugar, they're going to be upset. Technology, you're dealing with a supersized temper tantrum. High definition, high flying temper tantrum. And they are justified and enabled by the entire world, and you're the worst parent in the world. And they could probably find online a different parent if they wanted to on Craigslist. Okay. So when you do fasting, you want to be very purposeful. Why do we do fasting in the first place? What? To grow with God, to grow closer. Okay. We want to be thankful. We want to grow in our spirit. So we, again, saying